On a crisp morning in the Alaskan wilderness, August 7, 1981, Carl McCunn stood on the edge of a remote lake inside the Arctic Circle. At 34, he was a seasoned wildlife photographer, embarking on a 5-month solo camping trip in one of the planet's most unforgiving landscapes. With towering snowy peaks and endless forest stretching around the lake, the isolation was absolute: no roads, no rangers, no people within 100 miles. Carl had chosen this solitude, but now, as he hurled a box of ammunition into the icy water, his circumstances were about to take a chilling turn. Carl had arranged for a small bush plane, piloted by his friend Rory, to pick him up that day. However, he'd only confirmed the date, not the time. As he waited by the lakeshore, the stark silence was broken only by the distant howl of a wolf. He decided to keep one last box of ammunition, a decision that would come to haunt him. The day stretched on, and the golden Arctic sun began its slow descent, signaling midnight. Carl's anxiety deepened as he realized the plane wasn't coming. By morning, dread replaced his initial confidence. Days passed with no sign of Rory. Then, like a chilling revelation, Carl remembered the fateful detail. During the night he and Rory had discussed the pickup plan, alcohol had flowed freely. Rory had said he might be able to make it but needed to check his schedule. In his eagerness to begin his adventure, Carl had never followed up. Panic began to settle in. Carl understood the odds of a random plane spotting him were slim to none. He'd told no one else about his plans, and past experiences of overreacting loved ones had led him to warn them never to report him missing. Now, stranded and utterly alone, Carl faced the grim reality of surviving an Arctic winter with dwindling supplies and just a single box of ammunition. By late August, Carl weighed his options: remain at his campsite, scraping by on fish and small game, or attempt a treacherous 75-mile hike to the nearest town, Fort Yukon. The journey meant crossing unmarked, wolf-infested terrain with brutal weather as his constant companion. Each choice was a gamble, and time was running out. Just as despair began to take hold, salvation seemed to appear: a plane. The low hum of its engine broke through the wilderness like a lifeline. Carl grabbed his bright orange sleeping bag, waving it wildly. He could see the Alaska State Trooper pilot looking right at him. Elation surged through Carl as the plane made a U-turn, circling back. But instead of landing, it flew straight into the horizon, leaving Carl frozen in disbelief. Why hadn't the plane landed? That night, Carl's confusion spiraled into desperation. Unable to sleep, he rummaged through his belongings for something, anything, to read. That's when he found it: his hunting license. Bored and anxious, he scanned the small print, reading every line until a specific warning stopped him cold. A single arm raised in the air, the very gesture Carl had made in jubilation, was the universal signal for all okay. Do not wait. Carl's heart sank. The pilot had seen him, assumed he was fine, and flown away. If only he had raised both arms, the universally recognized pick-me-up signal. The realization was like a death knell. Hope faded as the Arctic's icy grip tightened. The lake froze over, trapping Carl in a landscape devoid of sustenance. His snares yielded little, and predators claimed what they could. By November, frostbite blackened his fingers and toes. Starvation gnawed at his body, and illness left him weak. On Thanksgiving Day, Carl wrote his final diary entry. "They say it doesn't hurt," he scrawled, his words a haunting resignation to his fate. Setting his journal near his rolls of film, the testament to his passion, Carl used his rifle and last box of ammunition to end his suffering. Months later, in February 1982, state troopers discovered Carl's remains, his diary, and his photographs, a poignant record of his journey into isolation. His story serves as a harrowing reminder of how a single, seemingly minor oversight can spiral into tragedy. Carl had been an adventurer, a dreamer who chased the beauty of the wild. But in the end, it was the silence of the fine print that sealed his fate. What are your thoughts? Did he sign his fate? Was he ignorant? Or was it foolishness? Let me know in the comment section. If you have enjoyed this video, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more of these kind of videos. See you in the next one.